NASCAR Cup Series driver Joey Logano has finally addressed the penalties that he was assessed by NASCAR for his modified glove. Before we get into this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at John Trent Racing. Before we get into Logano's comments, let's go over what exactly happened. So NASCAR announced this on February 25th ahead of the race at Atlanta. They says the number 22 car will drop to the rear and serve a pass-through penalty at the start of today's race due to violating Rule 14.3.1.1 of the NASCAR rulebook. Gloves do not meet SFI specification. We would kind of get some clarity during the race when they showed that his glove had some webbing in between the fingers. It wasn't clear exactly how much webbing it had, but we did see webbing between the thumb and the pointer finger. Following the race on Tuesday morning, before they announced any further penalties, NASCAR's senior vice president of competition spoke with Sirius XM NASCAR Radio Channel 90 and talked about what the initial penalty on the track was, saying that was actually a competition penalty rather than a safety penalty. And remember, they're saying here that he violated a rule because it did not meet the SFI specification, with the implication that it was a safety penalty. We heard Larry McReynolds talk about it in the pre-race, saying it was due to a safety issue, but Elton Sawyer would say it was actually due to a competitive issue. Let's take a listen to what he had to say right here.
If you just take exactly what happened at the racetrack from a competition perspective and trying to enhance the performance on the racetrack, obviously we see time and time again at super speedways and other events where the drivers will stick their hand out the window. That's not something that we've been all that alarmed about. When you take it to the level that you have modified one of the safety, some of the safety equipment, gloves in particular, and then using that, so the penalty at the racetrack was based off that. So we disallowed the qualifying time, put the 22 to the back, and then also had them perform a pass-through penalty under green. Now, the next step of that is when you look at safety equipment, and we look at this very hard, we look at this, take it very seriously. There's been numerous meetings over time about safety of the car and the equipment and the drivers. And when you take and alter that, that will be something that we will discuss today if it needs to have additional penalty added to that. But the reason I want to be really clear on that is that what happened at the racetrack and the way it was handled was strictly based on performance and using that device. Now, altering a SFI certified safety piece of apparel, that's a different topic that we'll discuss today.
Again, I just want to point out, they said that the glove did not meet the SFI specification in the initial announcement, and then he changed the story there to NASCAR Sirius XM Radio, saying it was a competition issue. They would continue that new narrative when they actually did indeed assess the fine. He was fined $10,000 for the safety issue, and then we actually got a glimpse of the glove. You can see there's actually webbing throughout all of the entire finger, so in between the thumb and the pointer and the middle finger and the index finger, and then the index finger and the pinky. And then we have an explanation here from a NASCAR official. I'm not exactly sure who exactly this is, but this is what he had to say to the media while displaying the glove.
Piece of protective equipment cannot be modified in any way, so it's as delivered. That's how SFI approves it, and SFI does not approve any glove with any webbing, obviously for safety reasons. And as you can see, the entire glove is webbed. So the reason for that is obviously you can block more air. The drivers do put their hand up against the opening, which we've never really had a rule against it. But this obviously goes one step further, and this becomes not only a competition problem, it becomes a safety violation, because that glove is no longer SFI approved. Regardless of what the material is made of, regardless of who put it on there, it's not as delivered, it's not as tested, and it's an unapproved SFI piece of safety equipment. It doesn't matter what that material is made of. That glove never come with that. SFI has never approved a glove with any webbing for obviously reasons. It's not only the material, it's also can hinder them getting out of a race car, undoing seat belts, undoing window nets. So it's definitely a safety violation. The glove's no longer approved. This is
So there you go. Obviously, the issue is the competition, and then he's obviously talking about that the glove would never be approved by SFI, and it's a violation of that rule as well, and that's why they fined him. And then this is what Logano had to say after he won the pole at Las Vegas Motor Speedway during the press conferences, courtesy of Fox NASCAR and Bob Pockrass. Let's take a listen to what Logano had to say.
As a driver, you work with the team, and hey, I'm going to take a portion of responsibility of that too. Obviously, I put the glove on. That said, I didn't build a glove and go make it on my own. I can't sew. Okay. So yeah, that's what it was. And, we have conversations about it. What I'm proud about as a team is that, that was a tough situation for us. It was hard to go through and embarrassing for sure. But the fact that we got through it and just move on and focus on the next week, and we show that we have some speed in our race car and be able to put it on the pole here. It kind of says, to me, is a statement type lap. So proud of that.
The thing about the glove is they say, well, these things aren't tested for fire retardant and stuff. Like, do you feel like you put yourself in a sort of unsafe position?
No, I personally did not. If I ever, I would never put myself in a situation where I feel unsafe. I have kids, I have a wife, I have a family that I care way more about than race cars. And I didn't feel concerned about what we did. I didn't race with it. It's qualifying on speedways is pretty simple.
Okay, I have to say, I think that question there from Bob Pockrass was a little ridiculous. These guys are risking their lives every time they step in the car. Obviously, the cars are extremely well made, but we saw what happened with Kurt Busch just a couple years ago. He was pretty much eliminated from competition after suffering a concussion during a qualifying lap. So these drivers are putting their lives on the line every time they get in the car. To ask if he's thinking he's putting himself in danger is just a ridiculous question. I think the idea of them not being able to get out of the car because of the webbing with the glove, I do think that could be a little bit more. That is obviously, I think, a safety issue right there. But at the same time, you could probably potentially take the glove off. But then obviously you might be risking yourself to kind of flames or something like that could be happening. But obviously that's thinking that all of this stuff is happening at the same time, right? So those are a lot of options, and stuff like that could indeed happen. Again, we've seen flaming crashes, cars flipping upside down, and everything like that. But these guys are getting in the car, risking their lives all the time. So that's a pretty stupid question by Bob Pockrass, and I actually respect Bob Pockrass a lot. But man, that was a dumb question. So I'm going to call him out on that. But you heard it there from Joey Logano. He said it was kind of embarrassing, but he does take responsibility for it. He says he put the glove on. And at the end of the day, he got caught. And he was trying to gain an advantage. I still want to know how much of an advantage it actually gives you. I know a lot of people don't want to see that. They think it's a glove. It's ridiculous. Just on the face of it. Or, hey, he got those are the rules and he got caught cheating. I get all that. But I still just... curiosity's sake, how much of an advantage do you gain by putting the webbing on the glove? I want to know. Can we get some what is it? Some sim testing or something like that? If you put the glove up on your window net and it redirects the wind, does it increase your speed any significant amount? I'd love to know that. But those are kind of my thoughts on that. Let me know what you guys make, what Joey Logano had to say here, and all of these explanations by NASCAR. Specifically, I think how they kind of changed the narrative from the him not meeting SFI specifications to then it was a performance penalty at the track, and then the fine, $10,000 fine was for violating the SFI rules. Maybe I'm just kind of misinterpreting that or reading too much into it, and it's all part of the same rule that he's violating. The SFI glove not being meeting the glove not meeting SFI specifications because it has been unmodified, and then obviously the performance stuff too. But I don't know. It seems like he's breaking two things there, and they penalized him for two things. So I just like a little bit more clarity on that too. I mean, it does look like they changed their narrative a little bit. So let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below.